Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Adult Chair on rashpixel.fm. I'm Pete Wright, and right over there, mindfully, I'm going to say mindfully, probably not snacking, is Michelle Shaw.
Not snacking.
Not snacking. We've learned our lesson.
Yes, we did. I just had lunch, though, but I did not snack.
After our conversation last week with the great Megan Ramos on fasting and ketosis, I immediately went and drank a whole bunch of just black coffee, no stevia.
Ooh.
Because, wow, did I learn my lesson. I felt like I had to have a black coffee cleanse.
Yeah. I was going to say something
somehow...
like kind of crude. I'm not going to say it because there is a coffee cleanse and you don't drink it. You put it somewhere else. Have you heard of those?
Coffee. You're talking about the old coffee colonic, aren't you?
Yes, coffee enema.
Little coffee colonic. That's a very Los Angeles thing to do, I think. Isn't it?
I don't know. We do them out here, too.
You do them out there, too?
I don't. I've done it once, I have to say, but I won't. Well, that's way TMI. You might need to cut that out.
Are you? Hey, this is, we're being mindful about all the things we do today.
I'm an open book over here, as you know. I'll tell anybody anything about me. So.
You're good people, Michelle Chalfant. Hey, we are going to continue our series on food and eating, and today we're just going to talk about mindful eating and our experiences eating mindfully and changing our habits based on our conversation, or I think spinning off of our conversation last week. I'm very excited about this, as you probably heard my exuberance last week. Before we get started, head over to theadultchair.com, learn more about this show. You can subscribe for free on the mailing list. That's a great way to ensure you don't miss a single episode. And of course, join the conversation on Facebook or Twitter. And we'd love to see you in that private Facebook group and hear your stories there about changing your lifestyle around food and the way you approach food, because this is hard for a lot of people. What are you doing to make things work for your life? And of course, we absolutely encourage you to check out Michelle's 3-day adult chair workshop coming up in the fall. We've got 2 of them, one in Charlotte, one in Nashville. What do you want to say about those?
There's
Will there be mindful eating involved there? I was
just going to say, we're going to learn a lot about mindfulness, and I'm going to touch on mindful eating. So many of us don't know who we really are. This is a journey that we go on. It's an inward journey, and we get to learn and know where our issues come from and then what to do about them. So we certainly work with things like anxiety and depression and relationship issues and things like that. But it's about getting to know who you really are. And again, it plays into eating and every aspect of your life. So it's an inward journey that ultimately gives you the tools of how do you love yourself? We don't know how to do that. So that's what I am all about. That's what this podcast is about. And certainly the 3-day intensive is a way for people to learn who they really are and how do you love those parts that we really don't even want to look at because we don't like them. So it's a transformative journey for sure over the course of 3 days.
It's very exciting. This starts up Nashville, September 22nd through 25th, and Charlotte, October 13th through 15th. You can register right now at michellechafant.com. We really, really want to see you there. Okay, Michelle, let's talk about food.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about the chair model, where are we sitting when we eat?
Well, that's a great question, actually. We could be sitting in different chairs when we're eating. Mindful eating is done from the adult chair, and unconscious eating is coming from that adolescent chair. And I believe most of us sit in the adolescent chair while we're eating, and we need to learn how to sit in the adult chair, which means I've slowed things down. I'm mindful. I'm present moment.
I think this is where my relationship with food has fallen apart over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. when I start making bad decisions about food, it's because I'm slipping back into the adolescent chair. Feels like the Goldilocks chair.
It does,
because I get all of I get the just right feelings.
Well, here's the thing: we cannot process emotions and food at the same time. So when we have these emotions that are bubbling up inside of us and we don't know what to do with them, we automatically, unconsciously reach for something to eat, or of course we can go for alcohol or even drinks. When people pound a 6-pack of Coke or even one big giant, the large Cokes today, or the large sodas that I see that people get from fast food restaurants or the gas stations or whatever, I'm like, oh my God, it's like a half gallon of soda right there.
It's ridiculous.
It's like, holy crap. Anyway, drinking that with all that sugar and chemicals and all that stuff in there, or even iced tea, anything that is not water, is going to, basically put a lid on all of these emotions. So, yeah. So so all the emotions are coming up from this little inner child part of us. So here comes these beautiful emotions, and then we don't know what to do with them. So we want to shove them down. So unconsciously we reach for something like food, alcohol, drink, something like that, drugs.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Mine was always food. And I find it's a yo-yo experience. I'm sure I'm not alone in this, right? I feel just when I feel like I get control of my kind of experience with food and the bad decisions that I had been making, or the decisions that are not in my best physiological interests, something triggers and I go to hell in a handbasket, and it's just all back to the ho-hos and the Juanitas. Chips, you know what I mean? It's just ho-hos and Juanitas, right? And
I don't know what a Juanita is, but
Juanita, it is the best corn chip on the planet. It's really fantastic corn chip, and so that's where things go, and so I found myself. Not only the thing that's most disappointing about it is that it's not just the yo-yo of like weight, right? I don't feel good, but the emotional experience of enjoying the eating process, enjoying the sweet, the alien of sugar that's in my body, that is separate from feeling physically bad after I eat that stuff. And so I don't have it. It's like there's a connection that's broken between what I'm doing right now, eating all the ho-hos, and how I'm going to feel later. That connection is broken or very weak at best. And so it makes it really hard to have a cause and effect experience.
You're right. And there's so many chemicals in our food now, and sugar is like heroin. I mean, they've done MRIs and studies on this. It alters the brain. And when we crave something, it's like, get out of the way. Like, we're going to eat it. There is no mindfulness. I'm eating that cookie, or I'm eating that chip, or whatever it is. But so many things go into food addiction, or even if you don't have an addiction to food, just eating unconsciously. If we need a certain feeling, let's say, if we want to feel loved and nurtured, we're going to go for something like warm and soothing, or even like a big piece of chocolate cake, or a warm chocolate chip cookie, but also there's a lot to say about the crunch. A lot of people like crunches. I know sometimes I want a crunch that's salty. Sometimes I want a sweet. But unfortunately, because our food is laden with so much, crap in it, it has altered our brains. So it's hard to say no. It's hard to say no to these things because it's a brain chemistry thing. In addition to that, we have hormones. Men have the hormones, but women, I know, goodness gracious, like PMS time, look out, like I'm going to eat salt and sugar and you can't tell me I'm not, But what I have found is when I can incorporate mindfulness, it changes what my choices would be. So instead of going for, again, if my body or my brain's saying, you need to eat sugar, you need chocolate, go get something chocolate, you get chocolate. When I slow down, what I find is my choices change. For example, this just happened a couple of weeks ago. I love the Trader Joe's dark chocolate. It's like 72% or 75%. And Graham and we cut it up and we put it in the refrigerator.
Oh, yeah.
It's the gigantic bars. Like, they're like 8 inches long by, 6 inches wide. Like, they're huge. So we cut them up in little squares. So after dinner, we usually go and grab one. Yeah. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I was standing there. I was like, here's my one. And then I went back and I had 2 and then 3.
Thank God they're in little squares because you're like eating the evidence.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. And I was on my third one. Excuse me. I was going to get a fourth one. I had eaten 3. And I sat there and I got conscious. I basically said, I really need my adult here. What's happening? And I just took a moment and I slowed down. I took a breath in as the refrigerator doors open, mind you. I'm reaching in to grab one. I said, wait a minute. I realized I had unconsciously, out of a routine, gotten the first one, and the other two, I was still in that adolescent chair. I was still in my unconscious state, grabbing them. And I stopped myself and I said, I need to slow down. Let me take a breath. And I said, what is it that my body really wants? So I really, really want this. And I just tuned into the body. And I said, what do I need? What is it that you want? And I just got quiet, and I'm not kidding you. Suddenly my brain said, magnesium.
Magnesium. Your brain said magnesium?
Like, I heard the words magnesium. I was like, oh my God. That's why I'm downing all this chocolate, because the body wants magnesium. The body is this wise, intuitive, what do I want to call it? What is it, Pete? It's a wise, intuitive.
Well, you can call it whatever you want. I don't think my body knows the word magnesium or how it would connect to my body.
Yes, it does. And this is what I've noticed over time, is that the mind is separate from the body. I've had this experience so many times now where I'm noticing what my body really wants and needs, and the experience of my body is different from the experience that my mind is having. For example, I went in and I had some myofascial work done a while ago, and I was on the table and I said, yeah, I'm just feeling my body's very tight. I don't understand why. And my lower back where I had a herniated disc was out. And she just put her hands on my body and she's working, and she said, it's interesting. And I said to her, I feel very relaxed. I meditate every day. I do yoga. Like, I'm very relaxed in my mind, right? Mm-hmm. She says, that's really interesting because your body is in fight or flight. I was like,
wow.
What? I said, I was flabbergasted. And she says, yeah, your body is completely stuck in fight or flight. So that's for a whole other session, because that was a phenomenal awakening for myself. But I said, oh my God, I had no idea. So I'm learning that what we want from what the body wants might be very different than what the mind wants. So we have to slow down. And yes, I swear to you, I sat and I said, what do I really need? What does my body really want? And the words intuitively came up for me. Magnesium. I'm like, oh yeah, dark chocolate. You get from dark chocolate, there is magnesium.
Sure.
So
it's this oracle. Like your body, if you know how to listen to it, it'll tell you a lot.
And well, the other thing I've realized over time about the body is that we take advantage of it. We just expect it to work. And when it doesn't work, we get really pissed.
Oh yeah.
We get really pissed. We're like, well, what's wrong with me? I've got a low backache, or my knee is out, or my foot hurts, or whatever. And we get angry. We don't have gratitude for all the days and years that our body has carried us on this earth. How often do you sit and have gratitude for the body? It's like a miracle.
Yeah,
it's a miracle, right? This whole thing is a miracle. If you remember way back, you probably don't. It's been a while, but when I did the podcast with Connie, and she had cancer, mm-hmm. and I was with her, throughout her journey, and I did a podcast with her on what that was like for her. And one of the things that I still is in my mind that she said was, she realized when she was taking a shower and she was washing her body, how much gratitude she had for it. And it's like, oh, that's so true. We take such advantage of our bodies. We are mindless about our bodies. So when we start connecting into the body, I promise every single person, even you, Pete, that you will find what it is you really want. Like, I'll sit now and I'll say, okay, what's really happening with me? And I'll say, okay, I'm having a craving. Okay, this is like PMS cravings. Okay, so what can I have instead? It's about, again, slow down. When we slow down, we become conscious, which consciousness is the adult chair. Unconsciousness is the adolescent chair. It's the ego. It's the place where we just react to things. So slow down. Ask yourself, have you ever noticed you might crave, and again, it kind of blows people's minds when I say this. I'm like, when you slow down, you might realize you're craving something like broccoli. I've done this. I'm like, what am I really sitting at? When I slow down, and I'm certainly not perfect at this, but I notice when I slow down, sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, I'll stop in the morning. I eat I love eggs in the morning. I have scrambled eggs every morning, and I put a different vegetable in it often. So I'll say, okay, what does my body want? Like, okay, asparagus, broccoli. I want broccoli in my eggs. I'm like,
Wow.
isn't that interesting? My body must need vitamin C. My brain isn't thinking you need vitamin C. My brain's thinking I want high protein because that's what Michelle knows. I want high protein. So I'm going to have a lot of eggs in the morning and maybe some veggies because that would be good for me. And then when I stop and tune into the body and I ask myself, what is it that my body really wants? And I'll look at, I have fresh organic tomatoes from my garden right now sitting in front of in the middle of my kitchen in a big bowl. I'm like, ooh, does my body want those? And I pause and I'll wait and I'll get a feeling inside of me like, no, I don't want those. Does my body want this? What does my body want? I swear to you, the body will start speaking to you when you slow down, take a breath, and give it time.
It doesn't sound daffy at all to me. I feel like I just need to learn bigger words like magnesium, and what it does. No, for me, it's, we talked a lot about fasting last week, and I just want to lob another bit in support of what fasting can do to that clarity of voice. Right. Mm-hmm. For me, when I, now that I've been doing this long enough, right? I mean, I'm probably on week 6, I think, week 6 or 7. I've been doing it long enough that I feel like my system is cleansed to the point where I can hear the needs more clearly. And if I stop and sense sort of not just specifically what I want to eat, but how much I want to eat, right? I mean, you just sort of change physiologically and don't need as much to fuel. You become more clear-headed around what it is that you actually need to sustain yourself. And that's a huge gift.
Oh, it is. But again, so you're doing it. You're able to tune in. You may not hear the word magnesium right away, but you're tuning in, getting really clear on what it is that your body needs. Do you want more food? Do you need less food?
Right.
And it's very interesting because that mind will say, eat more, clean your plate. I grew up in the Clean Plate Club. My family, my dad was like, finish your food, finish your plate, and I'm like, ugh. So that old program is in there and it does not serve me. So I have to be really mindful when I eat, and I'll ask myself as I'm eating, do I really need another bite? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's like we're robots just finishing off that plate.
That's right.
Instead, get in the moment, slow down and ask yourself, like, do I really want this next bite? So, and then of course, when we slow down and chew our food and really smell the food and slow down and get in the moment with it, we almost always will eat less.
Yes. Oh,
no doubt about it.
Totally.
No doubt about it. When you really sit down and enjoy it, and I like to say, eat your food in the presence of nothing. Mm-hmm. and of course, unless you're out on a dinner, for dinner with somebody or lunch or coffee. But so I love cooking, and I've got the TV on, I've got my food shows on, but when we sit down to eat, that TV is off, and it's hard sometimes because the Sunday paper comes, and I love to sit down with my coffee and my breakfast out on the back deck and eat. And I notice what a different experience it is when I sit and eat and just listen to the birds and I'm outside and I'm just enjoying the moment, enjoying my food, versus when I eat and read the paper. Mm-hmm. I'll finish my plate of food and I'm like, God, I don't really remember eating that.
Oh, geez. So it's the food blackout. I mean? Yeah, mealtime blackout. Totally.
Blackout. So eat your food in the presence of nothing. And that's hard. And I mean, put the cell phone down and away, because that's the other thing that people do. They go, oh, well, I'll just have my cell phone here. I'm just going to check email. That stupid cell phone distracts us in so many ways. But when we sit there without the cell phone, forget it.
Yeah. Right.
It's like how I ate. This happened to me last week when I was at work. I had ordered food. I had a little lunch break and I ordered food, and I love to get this gluten-free turkey sandwich with these chips because I like that crunch.
Oh, the crunch.
And I sat there. Yeah, the crunch. You know the crunch.
Oh, Juanita.
The corn.
Sweet Juanita. Yeah.
The corn chip crunch. But I I sat there and I said, okay, what does my body really want? And my mind wanted the damn gluten-free turkey sandwich with avocado and all the stuff I get on it and the chips. And I sat there, I said, okay, body, what do you really want? And I could feel that I wanted greens. I just wanted greens. So I got, the salad with the chicken salad on top of it. But when I ate it, I could feel it was my ego, it was my adolescent. I could feel I was pissed. Like I wanted that sandwich, damn it. I was really mad.
Yeah.
And I sat there. And so what I found, it was a great experiment because what I was eating, pulled out my laptop because the pissed offness, the anger that I was having over the salad was making me mad. And I found myself unconsciously. I pulled out my laptop, started, going through emails, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I stopped myself. I said, wait a minute, putting the laptop away, closed the laptop, and I'm sitting in the little kitchen at work all by myself. And I just started eating my salad really mindfully. Mm-hmm. And I had the memory. I was like, wow, I had forgotten how crunchy salad is. I wanted the potato chip crunch. And I know a lot of people are listening going, salad's not the crunch like a potato chip. And I would say the same thing. But in that moment, when I was so in the moment, I was really grateful for that other crunch. It satisfied something inside of me. Right. And then when I was done, I was really full. It was a big salad, had avocado on it and some walnuts and then this chicken salad. I was done. I was like, I'm okay. And then I wasn't as angry. That was kind of gone. And I felt satisfied. And I was like, oh, this feels so much better. I feel better when I eat like that.
Well, and I find, when I'm craving a crunch, it's usually not the crunch itself that I'm craving. It's the salt, it's the sweet, it's the whole experience that comes with that crunch. And right. There are lots of other ways to get the crunch. It turns out your body doesn't necessarily need the salt and the sweet, but the crunch can be satisfied in other ways. I find these days, a nice wedge of iceberg lettuce and some balsamic drizzle on it without even the oil, but just a little bit of balsamic and some sea salt, and I have exactly the same experience that I'd get from a bag of chips. Like I really... it takes practice, but you can get there.
That's what I'm saying. It does. Yeah. It takes practice, but we get there. Yeah. And again, I salt my salad all the time.
Oh yeah, you got to salt the salad. You got to salt the salad. Yeah,
salt my adrenals need the salt. Yeah, so like Himalayan salt. Here we come. I salt everything, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Let's talk about the weight loss piece, though.
Yeah,
that's what I think a lot of folks are probably interested in if they're if you're working on this, because I think I've worked really hard on a number of different sort of diet schemes, I don't mean that in a negative way, like just a plan that can help me live life, and I do terribly with diets. Right, when I have to think about specifically about the food, I do terribly with it. I lose track every time. But something has changed this time. For me, it's around fasting, but it's also around slowing down, eating less, and being, as you say, more mindful. And what's sort of magical about that is you don't have to think about weight loss. You just think about your day, getting through your day and the rhythm of your day and your energy, and the weight comes off as a byproduct. So, right. So let's talk about it from the chair perspective. How does that work?
Well, and what I'm hearing you say, what occurs to me is like, wow, you're really loving yourself in a beautiful way when you eat in the way that you're eating. Mm-hmm. So again, that's adult. When we're in our adult, it's everything we're talking about. It's slowing down. It's getting in the moment, eating your food, and closing that laptop for me was when I slid in my adult chair and I ate the salad as it was. Mm-hmm. Taking a moment and allowing myself to realize I could get the green salad or the magnesium, that's all adult. But when we talk about weight loss, and I think it's really beneficial to say, how can I get healthier? Like I want to love myself, not just from an emotional perspective, but from the physical. So how can I do that? What resonates with me? Does the ketosis diet, does this eating like that, does fasting resonate with me? And again, you found the right way to eat because you stumbled upon it and it felt right to you inside the body. Yeah. If the body doesn't like how you're eating, it's not going to work.
Totally. Absolutely.
It's not going to work.
Yep.
It's not going to work because you won't feel good on it. Your mind, whatever. So it's about getting in touch with, again, slowing down and saying, what sort of thing would be best for me? Do I do fasting every other day? Do I do that? What is that called? That, that cayenne pepper and lemon in the water, that kind of fast. I can't remember what that's called.
I can't either. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but there's so many different ways. But just to have the understanding, like there's a part of me that is wanting to eat the chips. And that part is sitting in the adolescent chair. So let me get in touch with that part. That would be another way to do this. So if I want to lose weight, I would get in touch with the parts of me that are wanting, or first of all, if me from my adult wants to lose weight, I've got to talk to the parts in my adolescent chair that's like, screw you, I'm not giving up my cake.
Mm-hmm.
I need that cake, right? I need that cake, or I need those chips. I'm not giving up those chips. You can't make me. So we want to really, again, it's getting mindful. It's maybe talking to the part that's saying, no, I don't want to give up the chips. How am I supposed to eat without the chips? I need the chips. And then what if you have a salad for the crunch? The other thing that's so nice and crunchy is celery with almond butter. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the ways to take away, if we're really out of control eating or having this crazy craving for something, is doing EFT. That emotional freedom technique is fabulous for helping cravings kind of fade away into the background. And that was, I don't remember where that is, Pete. Is
oh, yeah. No, we'll put, we definitely have that on the website. And the last time we did an episode on it, we talked about it as well. We can put the link to that in the show notes.
Yeah. So it's really, I hope people can take away today that the mind is it's more separate from the body than we think.
Yeah.
So get in touch with, what does your body want to do? If you want to do something like Jenny Craig, then sit down and say, does this feel right? The body is so intuitive. It will open up and expand if it's a yes. It will close down if it's a no. Mm-hmm. You'll feel this contracted state if it's a no. So even if you can't hear the word magnesium yet, because I think everybody can at some point, if we're just open to that, then your intuition will talk to you and it will guide you. So with weight loss, what type of plan are you drawn to?
Mm-hmm.
How much weight do you want to lose? What would be best for me? Some people might be very drawn to the ketosis diet. Some people may not. Okay. What works for you may not work for me. And we've got it. And the only way to know that is to tune into the body.
Well, I love it. And I think, so much of that experience of coming to terms with what works for you may not work for me, it's taken me a long time to get there, because I definitely, there was, during my 20s, early 30s, I was definitely in a place of, this is the only way to do XYZ. I have to change the way I eat because that's the only way that I'm going to be able to. And only is such a limiting belief, right? As soon as you start using only, it's such it really is not a mindful way to live. And so,
and it's, really I have to say, it's so confusing today because there's so many different ways to eat out there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get healthy or lose weight, it's like, what am I supposed to do? It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's absolutely overwhelming. So
there was a wonderful TED Talk about the biochemistry that goes into weight loss and what happens when you are, quote, burning fat. You're not really burning fat, but it changed the way I think about, I think about eating. And I am more mindful as a result of coming to an understanding of the chemistry of it. And I might post that video in the show notes because
you should.
It's worth watching. He does the experiment on stage of actually doing the chemical transformation that happens when you burn fat. And it's the most amazing. I had no idea. I thought I did. I thought I knew what was happening, but it's not what I thought. And I would encourage folks to go check that out. I'll put that in the show notes and see if it doesn't impact the way you think about what's going on with weight in your body. It's fascinating.
And I think it just overwhelms people too.
It does,
there's so much out there. And I mean, for me, I think that eating whole foods is the most beneficial way for anybody to eat, and higher fat. I really think, Mark Hyman, I love his work too. And it's about eating higher fat. We should eat higher fat, like the avocados, like the nuts and seeds and things like that. But with whole foods, we got to get the processed food and sodas and things like that out of our diets. But even saying that right now, people may hear this and go, well, what does that mean? Like, well, how am I supposed to eat? There are so many fabulous people out there that have put great cookbooks. They're out on Instagram. They're all over the place on how do you eat whole foods, and they have recipes, and it's not as hard as it would seem, for sure. Tons of paleo, and I mean, I love paleo too, but it's all out there. You just got to look for it, but find out what resonates most for you, and you do that by tuning into your body, for sure.
Absolutely. Great way to end it. Thank you so much, Michelle Chalfant. Always a pleasure. And thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening to the show. We appreciate your time and attention. Good luck on your own journey to become more mindful as you eat. And until next week, on behalf of Michelle Chalfant, I'm Pete Wright. We'll catch you right here, sitting mindfully and firmly in our adult chair.